Hello everybody, this is The Horror Sickness, and this looks like a really weird angle and my head looks huge, which it is anyway, but when you put the camera even closer it looks massive. Basically I'm back now with part 5 of my collection overview. Sorry it's taken so long, I think it's been about 8 months, so yeah, not even too long, just ridiculously long. But a lot of things have been going on. I got work at that time, we've moved since and everything else, blah blah blah, poor me. But yeah, I'm just going to crack on now. We've moved, as you can see. The collection's set up, and I really wanted to just get back into this. I've actually had a few people asking me about it. In the meantime, it's something I really wanted to do. I didn't really intend on stopping. But yeah, welcome to part 5 of my collection overview. Hopefully this is going to be more of a regular thing, not just 4 parts every 8 months. I'm going to record a few in advance and get them up, and hopefully you enjoy. So let's get straight into it. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, so it's good to be back and finally getting on with these collection overviews. It's been way too long, so we're not going to wait any longer. We're just going to crack straight into it. And first up, we have 9. As I explained, we're going to go back through a few bits that I picked up in the meantime since the previous episodes. So we have 9. This is from 2009. And in this, the world has been destroyed in a war between man and machine, and we get to follow the story of 9, which is a hand-stitched doll which, having come to life, holds the key to humanity's salvation. And it's not out-and-out horror, but what I have been doing is trying to build up a bit of a kind of horror animation collection. Basically stuff for me and the wife to watch together. She won't watch basically anything in my collection. Horror stuff just freaks her out completely. So we managed to come to an agreement where we're going to pick up some horror animation type stuff that she can watch, and she really enjoyed this one. We both did. It's post-apocalyptic fun, so if you like that kind of thing, you're definitely going to enjoy this. But it is actually quite dark in places as well, so it's something that I could enjoy. It stars John C. Reilly, Jennifer Connelly, Elijah Wood, among other people as well. But some really cool voices in there. It looks really good and definitely worth a watch if you want to pick that up. Next up, we have All the Boys Love Mandy. This is from back in 2006, directed by Jonathan Levine and starring Amber Heard, who I just remember as the girl who tries to eat Columbus at the beginning of Zombieland, if you remember that one. Anyway, she plays Mandy Lane, basically a good girl who happens to be beautiful, yet unobtainable for everybody at school. She's then invited to a weekend party at a secluded ranch, and then it kind of from there turns into your typical teen slasher. Having said that, I watched this film at work, just in kind of parts when I could fit it in, and I was pretty bored and tired and everything else, so I just didn't get into it at all. So this is one I'm definitely going to have to rewatch in time, but let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Next up, we have Altered. This is from 2006 as well, the same year, and it was a sci-fi horror that was released straight to DVD, directed by Eduardo Sanchez, which, as you can see from the top, is the director of the Blair Witch Project. To me, that's doing a huge disservice to a guy called Daniel Myrick, who was co-director of the Blair Witch. To say this is from the director of the Blair Witch is a little bit cheeky, really. So I'm going to retitle this from one of the co-directors of the Blair Witch Project. Anywho, this is the story of 4 men who are seeking revenge on aliens who abducted them and murdered their friend. And if you haven't already, definitely check this one out. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's low budget, but it's definitely a well-made, lower budget, kind of B-movie-esque horror sci-fi. It's well acted in the whole, to be fair, well paced, well shot, fairly well directed, and well, all is well. Check it out. Next up, we have Amusement. This one was sent to me by Shaun, Winter King 1967. His link's going to be below. It was a long while ago, and I have to admit I still haven't got around to watching this one yet. But as far as I can tell, it's your typical kind of stalk and slash film about a psychopath called The Laugh. I won't read too much about this one. I haven't really looked into it as such, as I'll just end up spoiling it, mainly for myself, but for you as well. Shaun, thank you very much, and I'll watch it very soon and I'll get back to you. Next up, one that I have watched is Brotherhood of the Wolf from 2001, so this one's over a decade old now. 18th century France, and the Chevalier de Fronsac, if I'm saying that right, translation Chav of France, and his Native American friend Manny are sent by the king to the Guavaudian province. I have wrote this down and it's still not going brilliantly, to be honest, to investigate the killings of hundreds by a mysterious beast. I watched this about 9 months ago. And to set the scene, it was raining really heavily outside, there was lightning, there was thunder, it was very dark. Obviously my wife was at work, and I just lost myself in this one. I think the atmosphere around me kind of built into it, and I just really enjoyed this one. Yes, there are plot holes. Yes, they overdo the slow motion, especially during the fight scenes at times. Yeah, they claim it to be a true story. Go figure. But it is very entertaining. Maybe you should watch it while it rains, in the dark, while thundering and lightning, and your better half goes out. It's probably a really good way to watch it. It's directed by Christoph Gans, who directed a guilty pleasure of mine, Silent Hill. Well, no, not so much a guilty pleasure. I like Silent Hill. Silent Hill is a good film. And stars, among others, obviously Vincent Cassel, who was a big favourite of mine, and Monica Bellucci, who was a big favourite of everybody's. So actually, at this point, if you've seen these overviews before, you'll remember that we usually break off and go and check out something a little special. So before we get back to where we left off in part 4, I think it'd be a good time to break, and we'll go to the table and check out a couple of special editions. Okay, so here we are at the table. We're going to take a closer look at a few special editions, and the reason I want to look at these is, if you go back to part 2, we took a closer look at an edition of mine of An American Werewolf in London. Since I recorded that, I've actually picked up another version, which I really like, and at the same time, actually my first Play.com exclusive Blu-ray Steelbook. Then added to that with another 2, and they're the 3 that I've got. There is plenty more. There is another horror one of The Thing, which I don't have, and other non-horror stuff as well, but these are the 3 that I picked up. I will start by saying I'm not going to be collecting Steelbooks as such. I just don't like the way that it's done a lot of the time, the way that people deal with them, picking a bunch up and selling them on at extortionate prices. It's not something I'm going to get involved in, but if I can pick up a nice Steelbook every now and again at a reasonable price, I will do. You know, they're nice looking things and nice to have in the collection, but I'm not going to get involved in that whole thing. The other thing that I need to say as well is, this isn't a table, this is a chopping board on top of the cooker, but that's not going to affect everyone. So yeah, here we have 3 actually. We're going to show through the 3 that I have. I say first up, An American Werewolf in London. These are the Play.com exclusive Steelbooks in Blu-ray. So yeah, let's take a closer look. Hopefully it won't pick up much glare. That's the front artwork, which some people like, some people don't. I think it's actually okay. An American Werewolf in London down the side, and there's the back, the Universal logo at the bottom. And if we open it up real quick, I have to do this with all of them. You have your disc inside, and if it's picking that up, a little bit of artwork on the Moors, and all nice and simple. And also, as you can tell, landscape design. And the back sleeve, obviously I keep them. If you want to pause it, do, and you can see all the all the special features and everything on the back of that. Next up, we have one of my top 10 films of all time. I had to pick this one up. This is Shaun of the Dead. It's kind of embossed or debossed type of thing. Again, one of the Blu-ray Steelbook exclusives from Play.com. Nice artwork on the back as well. The inside is actually really nice. We've got this artwork there, and you can see the embossed bit coming through. There's the disc. And if we take a look at the back, again, you can pause and see what the special features are. You don't get quite as much as the regular edition, actually, but I've got that anyway, so that doesn't matter. And last but not least, sorry we're rushing through these, but this is the Frighteners, and that artwork is absolutely fantastic. You've got to love that. Michael J. Fox, the Frighteners, and on the back we have a strange green house, again with the Universal logo at the bottom. And if we crack this open, there's the disc, again, lovely artwork, and a lovely picture on the inside. I do want to say as well, before we head back, Play.com, there is the back as we talk. Play.com have really got into this whole Steelbook thing, and when you order from them, it comes really well packaged, specifically for Steelbooks, which is pretty good to say that they're obviously listening to the customers and taking the time to look at what people want, which is pretty cool. So yeah, as I say, I'm not really going to be getting into collecting Steelbooks. I've got a few, but nowhere near as many as a lot of people have. It's not really going to be something that I'm going to have a massive collection of, but as I say, I can pick them up at a reasonable price. I will do. So there you go, the Play.com exclusive Steelbooks, and let's get back to the shelves. Yep, so there you go. Hopefully you like those, and we're just going to crack straight on, get a couple of more done. And next up, which is where we left off, as I say in part 4, is Carrie. Carrie's from 1976, and with the remake actually due out this year, I rewatched this recently and absolutely loved it all over again. You all know it, shy 17-year-old with mummy issues, discovers that she's got telekinetic powers, and then uses them to devastating effect as the bullying inflicted on her goes way too far at the school prom, basically. I will say, looking back at it, I love the pacing of this film. It's very reminiscent of things like Audition, where the payoff needs to be very good. You all know the payoff at the end. It is absolutely fantastic, and it makes the pacing of the previous kind of hour and a half just work really well for me. What else I want to say? The way her powers develop as well, the character development is fantastic, her relationship with the people around her, and of course, as I say, what matters most is the payoff, which is just epic. If you haven't watched it for a while, definitely go back and watch it, and you'll enjoy it. As I'm sure you know, you'll enjoy it. And I think this is going to be last up for today. I'm going to try and keep these a little short. This is Cat in the Brain. This is from 1990, also known as Nightmare Concert, which you may have it as. This is one of Lucio Fulci's films. To be fair, Fulci's films are rarely viewed for the kind of coherent plots, but much more for the visuals, the gore and everything that he puts into them. This one especially feels more like kind of a series of violent scenes, sometimes actually lifted directly from other films. I looked into it, and films like Massacre, Touch of Death, which is actually directed by Fulci himself, and The Murder's Secret, among others, scenes from those are lifted and used directly in this film. It doesn't matter, I love it. I can't tell you why, I absolutely love this film. It's one of my favourite Fulci films. It's not one of Fulci's best, but it's one of my favourites. Seeing Fulci play himself as well, not long before his death, is a joy. And he actually does reasonably well, to be fair. I've seen a lot less convincing performances in film. If you watch this as a social commentary on the effects of cinema violence on society, blah blah blah, you won't get what you're supposed to get from it. Yes, there is a bit of social commentary in there, but if you just want to go and see some great gore, tongue-in-cheek humour, some nudity, trash cinema, great set pieces, and just have a lot of fun with the film, check it out, stick it in, enjoy it. Big favourite of mine. Yeah, so as I say, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to try and keep these a little short. I'll see you in part 6. Hopefully it won't be too long before I get that one up. And hopefully you enjoy. All links are going to be below to previous parts. And as I put other parts, I'll just add all the links in there so you'll know what there is. Obviously, anybody mentioned, I think this time Shaun, Winter King 1967, his link's going to be below. Trailers to all the films that have been mentioned in this episode are going to be below as well, so check them out. And as I said, join me in part 6 for more of the collection. Take it easy, everybody.